interested in the Eliminator, it is $30 to enter. You can enter at the registration desk by the tournament office. The Eliminator is $30. Thank you.
Good luck and good ball. This is just a reminder, you have until you throw your first official ball to get into the brackets, jackpots, and eliminator.
It's so hard doing that because I gotta loft it, but I gotta like kill it. Like I can't grab it.
Alright, I'm starting at the 1-pin chuck.
Yeah, the obsessive more I only hit with like a weak 500 pass. So I thought because that ball was hooking as soon as I threw it, and then I was like, maybe I can get on the gutter with this one and it'll hook early and set up. And it just went forever. And then it light mixered, then it like 2-8-10, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'd rather my ball hook too much and have a chance at Brooklyn. Oh yeah? Oh shit. Yeah. I do that one pretty good.
Here's one sheet. Brady
Depends on what ball I'm throwing, I guess. Oh, yeah.
Good afternoon. Good people of Earth. Hope everyone is doing well. For those of you who are returning and continuing your watching here of Bowl TV, we appreciate it. Or Bowl Stream TV. Second squad of the day, B squad qualifying officially on the lanes. My name is Emil Williams Jr. A lot to go over for you, of course, when with you, but by now you may know that the cut for the top 50 in A squad was minus 111. We'll take 50 additional players after 5 games here this squad. Re-entry afterwards as well for a couple games. Desperado. Players on the lanes, 35. B there is Christopher Racy. Kevin Anderson is letter A, and then Jackson Styles is C in this group. Then on 37 and 38, that is Brady Adler. Neil Spriggs right now up on 38. Chris, I know you've been asking about that. I don't believe Simo is here. Since B Squad is now on the lanes, I still have yet to see him. So again, Brady Adler, Brandon Flora. Someone asked about Brandon Flora, by the way. Chase Tucker and Neil Spriggs.
To like burn up and then like go forward in the right spot. Because there's no like shape in it. It's like hooking it.
Which Nick, which name are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. I don't know which name you're talking about. Flora's going to have to step up, by the way, on lane 38. I know we had some folks asking about him. Which letter are you? Which letter are you?
The one with the Morse code for the second shot.
Sorry about that. Sean Rash is in this squad as well, or he should be. I never can confirm, obviously, until we see him. A shot there for Mr. Racy. Again, so minus 111. There are several names, that you would know in this squad. So you may figure that this squad's cut number might be a little bit lower. They are bowling on the burn. No re-oil. There's also no live scoring, Nick. If you're seeing it today for the first time, even on the burn, there still won't be a lot of hook, if any. There's going to be some early hook in certain parts of the lane for sure because of the amount of friction created by the lower grip bowling balls. .220, .360, .500. For some people, honestly, though, I like what Jackson Styles is doing. He's kind of taking the lane out of play a little bit. I've seen a lot of players try to do that earlier today also. But because there's some opportunities or some spots, a good break there for Racy, and there's some friction spots in the heads for sure. I mean, it kind of seems like maybe, this is just a thought, that you could find something maybe at, 2,000 maybe, and somehow get that ball to be somewhat smooth. But ball speed is definitely drama ER indeed. Yeah, Chris Racy's doing his thing. That's gonna be a good score if he can finish it out in the 10th frame. Game 1 scores on the fresh were, for the most part, pretty high. And I use that term very lightly. There were a couple 240s game 1, several 230s, both 220s, and again, that was on the fresh. Please like, share, post on your social channels. Let folks know what you're watching today and what you'll be watching throughout the day, for that matter. I hope your day is going well on this Saturday afternoon. Oh, get some help. Chase Tucker has found a nice groove over on 37 and 38, 3 in a row after a couple of opens.
That single pin spare percentage is going up. 50.
I would love that actually.
Here, come in the tournament, you throw straight. Okay, that's great. What'd you do? Not throw it straight.
You guys can't hear it, but
Ball's that big, and I missed by them more than that much.
Brian Valenta is describing how he's missed some spares early here in game 1. In a tournament where throwing it straight is important. You can't throw a spare ball straight for some reason. And his strike ball for that matter. High flush, come on. All right, 4-pin there for Chris. 222 for Jackson Styles. Great start. Do have a roster. Thank you to Justin. Everyone back in the tournament office. Jason, Justin, Doug, Greg. The entire Utchwall family. And anyone else that I'm missing. Thank you so much. All right, Chris Racy. Again, the 2-0s against Styles. Maybe we're talking about Styles' last name. That is a pretty good name. We'll be able to peek in over on 33 and 34 in a second. Coming up next on this pair, or these pairs, all right, 203 for Chris Racy. Okay, coming up next, we'll have Ronnie Grunfield, Daniel Perkins, Sandra Wiley, and Jonathan Cummins on 35 and 36, Cameron Fritz, Jeff Bonte. Jeff was, Ramon was looking for Jeff. Earlier in A squad, he's bowling B squad. Jeremy Thomas and Will Highslope will be on 37 and 38. Lefty Spriggs takes care of the spare in the 7th. Let's take a peek over at 33 and 34. Landon Yazels, that's got a push. Landon working on a nice game here. He just had, he was working on a 4-bagger, clean through 8. There's my man Brian Valenta. Valena is in the 10th frame. I mentioned his spare shooting struggles here so far. A spare strike will give him 146 to start. Missed single pin there for Landon in the 9th frame. Drops his max down now to 233. We'll see David Stouffer here in just 1 second. And Brandon Flora, a strike in the 9th, first one in the 10th. It's high flush and good count. He'll be in the 190s. Chase Tucker. Strike will get him to 196. He'll be on the right of your screen. Shot there for David. That's a double. Right now in the 2 teens. All right, big shot there for Stouffer. He's going to be in the 220s. One more in the 10th. He'll be at on the fill, 227 exactly. Back over to Brady Adler here. And he throws it well, struggling a little bit here these last couple of frames. See this last shot there from Stouffer.
I tried to put another adverb and an adjective, but she wouldn't have it.
Nice finish for David, 227. All right, Landon makes that spare. He's going to have an opportunity for Phil. He'll get to, or potentially get to 223. Someone asked about Braden Fowler earlier, and he was in Bowling A squad. Let me check my B squad roster here. Not seeing a Braden Fowler on the roster. All right, that's the end of game number 1. Actually, after this last shot, that's the end of game number 1. And then we're on to game 2. All right, again, game 2 coming up. Robbie Gronfeld, Daniel Perkins, Sandra Wiley, Jonathan Cummins, Cameron Fritz, Jeff Bonte, Jeremy Thomas, Will Highslope, 35, 36, 37, and 38 respectively. All right, looks like the players on 35 and 36 are getting close. They're making some adjustments to the scoring monitors to either remove or make one player on there a blind. All right, here we go. Bluegrass answering some questions there in the chat. Yes, Grandpa did bowl. He bowled earlier. Let's read or recap some of our scores from this morning. Grandpa did bowl A squad, the A squad this morning. So Tom Doherty ended up leading the squad at plus 83. He shot 245 in the final game to move into the lead. Steve Novak was second at plus 78. Tom Hess was third at plus 67. Kevin Williams was fourth at plus 57. Dwight Adams was fifth at plus 48. Francois Lavoie was sixth at plus 35. Don Barrett was seventh at plus 24. Stu Williams was eighth at plus 23. Kim Wallaby was ninth at plus 21. Brent Calhoun was 10th at plus 9. Nick Pate was 11th at even. Specifically, Graham Fa, he went minus 17. Someone asked about if we had any women bowling. I know Jody Westner was bowling. I said that earlier. And Sandra Wiley, who I watched bowl last night, the double shootout. She is bowling, of course, right here on 35 and 36. David Stouffer just made the 4-9 on lane 39. You saw it to the right of your screen. All right, there's Jeff, who Ramon was asking about earlier today. Was a good shot there from Wiley. Jonathan Cummins made it to the semifinals in the Fairchild single shootout on Friday. Shot 299 that day as well. Good shot at that. Man, Gary has been great about providing scores for me. So as soon as I have those, I will pass them along to you. Here's some of the crosses that are bowling here. Let's see, Ryan Litterbach, Brett Copper, Jeremy King, Eric Jones. These are just groups of players that are bowling together today. Victor Varner, Kyle Troop, Brian Ivy, Zach Tackett, Nathan Peck, Jacob Horrell, Nolan White, Jamal Davis, Jacob Buttress, Jesper Svensson, Curtis Rasnick, Ty McKinney. Jacob and Jesper bowling on the same pair all day. That could be interesting on this. Paul Smith, Cody Lumpkins, Nolan Blessing. How about that? Nolan Blessing getting his thing doing out here. Jonathan Huddleston, Thomas Wynn, Alan Dillinger, Eric Wiley, Sean Rash, Austin Kohler, Chad Gilbert, Terrence Bright, DC Borsaw. Saw DC in the chat earlier. Derek Patterson, Sam Cooley, Jody Wessner, and Chad Roberts. It's a pretty good cross there. Ron Carpenter, Jordan Bryant, and Nathan Bohr. Billy Levin, Alan Watcher, Philip Watson, Dan Higgins, Richard Rathjen, Brian Hatcher, AJ Rice, Trevor Roberts, Zeke Bate, and Mike Kickmall. That's a pretty good cross there as well. John Freeman, Lance Morris, Chris Colella, and Jason Miller. Of course, we are watching Robbie Gronfeld, excuse me. Robbie's letter A. This is Jonathan Cummins. Cummins with a 3-bagger. Of course, Daniel Perkins and Sandra Wiley. And as previously mentioned on 37 and 38, Cameron Fritz, Jeff Bonte. Fritz letter A, Bonte letter B, Jeremy Thomas letter C, and Will Highslope letter D. David Stouffer, Tyler Ring, Landon Yazel, Brian Valenta, Kevin Anderson, Chris Racy, Jackson Stiles, Chase Tucker, Neil Spriggs, Brady Adler, Brandon Flora, Mitch Beasley, Kurt Pelon, Justin Stewart, Michael Mossbarger. Beasley and Pelon both can play it, certainly. Sam Blythe, Kirby Allen, Donovan Kelly, Daniel Benge, Brandon Novak, Petey Reynolds, Rick McCormick, Ben Sobel, Mike Martell, Haley Dan, Jerry Mars, Brad Riggs, Jeremy No, Mickey Coffey, Ryan Spear, John Sweezy, Brandon Wooten, Patrick Forbes, Darren Crane, and Tony Mibers. Jacob, if your question wasn't answered, Jody Wessner is bowling. And she's just going to be outside of our camera range. We'll see Dan Higgins and AJ Rice here coming up in game 3. That's some pretty powerful lefties bowling here on this squad. Thinking about AJ Rice, Jesper Svensson. We will see. Well, we'll have Jacob Buttress and Jesper Svensson will be close in game 4. They're over on 33 and 34 during that game. We will have Sean Rash in game 4. Oh, Gronfeld. Stringins with the 4-pin, but it could have been a little worse than that. So he'll take the single. Saw some questions about the standings. Not sure if they've been updated yet, but I'll post them again, or we'll post the final standings from A Squad on the Bowl TV Facebook page. What's going on with everyone today? How's everybody doing? Everybody good? They might get a chance to see outside of Bluegrass, who definitely watched bowling this morning. A good shot from Cummins. Re-entry squad to happen right after B squad, and that'll be a couple of games, 2 games to be exact. That's a busy day, Chad. I appreciate you. All right, I just posted the final A squad standings on the Bowl Stream TV Facebook page. For those who may be curious, or if you had a question, perhaps looking for a particular player. Asbury, that's an interesting. Archiving 20-plus years of the local bowling newspaper, 60s, 70s, and 80s. What local paper is this? That's an interesting thought process there, Pugman. I'd like to see that too. You guys should tweet him. Send him a note on Facebook. Terrence, Donovan was, I saw him. He's on the high end. He is on 47, I believe, 47 and 48 at the moment. Don't think he is going to make his way back. Closest he's going to get to us is 29 and 30. But if you remind me, and if he's somewhat nearby, I'll have scores after every game, so I'll definitely be reading those off. And if you need someone, this goes for anybody, a specific player, let me know, and I will get you that player's score. Right now, let's talk about Game 1 scores. Sam Cooley, 244. Highest game from game number 1. Eric Wiley, 230. Stouffer, 227. Zeke Bate and Darren Crane, 225. Mike Kickmall, 224. Jackson Stiles, 222. Landon Yazel, 218. Paul Smith, 215. Kyle Troop, 214. That's your top 10. Richard Rathjen shot 200 even. There were 26 players who were even, shot a game even or more in game number 1. After one game, Terrence Bright, who shot 183, would be the number, along with Chris Colella. All right, someone said Paul Smith. I mentioned him, 9th and 215 to start. Sean Rash, 199. Brandon Floor did shoot 190. It's already Sunday in Melbourne, Australia. Well, Jerry, we appreciate you. You're up early. Kevin Anderson and Mitch Beasley. All right, Kevin Anderson, 199. Mitch Beasley, 181. BV didn't go well, 146, but he has rebounded nicely on 39 and 40. 3-bagger, 2 opens, 4-bagger. Yeah, AA did win, but he is not in the field this year, which is a bummer for multiple reasons. One, I was looking forward to seeing him. Two, you know, get an opportunity to defend one's title. Dakota, that's a good question. Earlier I said the best place to find a roster is the Bradley Open Bowling Tournament Facebook page. There is a post from February 10th. It's kind of the 2 days away or attention post from Jason Utchwall. And a double for Miss Wiley. I feel you on that. But that post had the entire roster listed on Facebook. They got a couple of multi-time champs in the field. There are only 3 champions bowling this year. Brandon Novak won it twice. Tony Lambert, who's won it 3 times. And Kim Ballaby, who finished first in 2020, and then second last year. Oh, nice shot there for Cummins. Cummins can play. Well, thanks for that info there, Thomas. Nick Pate this morning was even. He got to 1,000 for 5 games. Much more online there for Bonte. 5-pin for Thomas. Well, 37-38. We'll see Philip Watson. Dan Higgins is set to join us here for game 3 Along with Alan Watcher and Billy Levin, we'll have Richard Rathjen, Brian Hatcher, and A.J. Rice on 37 and 38. .210. Pretty nice game for Jonathan Cummins. Nice crowd on hand watching B Squad qualifying here. That's a thumbs up if you haven't already. Appreciate you for doing so. What did we just ask for? AJ Chapman. You know, unless I'm missing AJ's name, I don't see him. I did see him yesterday, though. But he may have just bowled the double shootout last night. Certainly was an opportunity for some action. This entire weekend, certainly, but definitely last night. Oh, throwing pins around. Jeremy Thomas. Adam, which score would you like to be updated? Top 50 after one game. Last couple spots, couple players shot 183. Well, Donahue on 35 and 36. Check in on Nathan Bohr and Jordan Bryant. Well, that's staying in it right there for Cameron Fritz. I had a rough stretch between frames 3 and 7, and has found a way to put 3 in a row together. Indeed, that's about right. High game, from what I could see, was 266 by Nick Pate. When Dan Higgins comes in, it's like, I didn't like that shot. He's a terrible washout. It just comes back and makes it. All right, solid finish. Make something out of nothing there for Fritz. Same thing with Monty here if he can put one more together. If you're scoring at home, the #1 team in the nation in men's college basketball. Auburn just defeated Texas A&M in SEC conference play. Absolutely has nothing to do with the Bradley Open except that it's on the TVs here at the Bowling Center. Nick West is not here. But he is into the PBA Hall of Fame. We'll take a look at the PBA schedule. You guys have been talking about it a little bit today. We talked briefly about it earlier, just about events that are not in the area and how the players having a chance essentially to make a stop through here. So the Storm Cup, of course, essentially underway. It started last week with the Best of the Best Championship, David Smalls. And then Dave will also have the Kokomo Championship. Last week, Jackson, Michigan. This week, as many of you have already stated, Kokomo, Indiana, Heritage Lanes. The event begins on Monday. All right, some different approaches to the 1-3 here in these featured pairs. All right, nice early double for Watson. Nathan Bohr out here trying his hand at the Bradley. In fact, let's after these couple of shots, we'll take a look over at 33 and 34. Wow. Ooh. Boy, that ball hooked. That would have been a strike this morning. That definitely would have been a strike on the fresh. No doubt about it. Oh, my. What? So the 5-pin just moved, but then was like kicked by a messenger. That was, oh man, that's fantastic. All right, here is AJ Rice. Good question, by the way, CG. You know, I don't really think I have an answer, and the reason I don't typically is because, generally speaking, no matter who is in the booth with me, it's typically a good conversation. But you know, Chris Barnes is Chris Barnes, so. I think, generally speaking, Chris Barnes is always going to be interesting in some fashion. He's going to give you something. I'd probably put a couple votes in for Stu Williams too. Not because they share a show. Because Stu is one of the more honest and outspoken individuals in the bowling industry. That was still going back to what I just saw on 37 and 38. Again, Richard Rathjen, Brian Hatcher. Hatcher, by the way, is letter B. This is Brian. Just carried a cool 5-pin. And AJ Rice is letter C. Let's take a peek over at Nathan Bohr, Jordan Bryant. Nathan Bohr, the double here. Spare strike, spare double here for Nathan. Donovan, first game score is 171 for Donovan Kelly, 171. This is Jordan Bryant. Last time I saw him, he was doing work with Lawrence Tech. Wow, that's the third hit like that on that lane. It's crazy. 479. I've seen it 3 times, all on lane 33. Just the strangest pins just kind of fall right in front of it, or fly right in front of the 479. Anyway. Here's Ron Carpenter. Scores were posted on the Bradley Open Facebook page after 3 games in round number 1. Will that happen? One would assume, but all right, Board trying to make it 3 in a row. That's the head pin right. Another look at Jordan Bryant here before we go back to Dan Higgins for a little bit. 37-38 just with 3 players. Their pace is going to be quick. They might even, they're not going to catch up to 33 and 34, but they won't finish too far behind. Board did make that spare to your left, so he remains clean through 6. I thought Phillip has thrown some really good shots the last couple. I'm not sure where he's trying to target, but at least this time he again leaves something that he can make. Oh, sure, Mary. You just tell me. You know, drop it in the chat. I generally do pay attention. I kind of feed off the chat a little bit. I've heard a lot of good things about Trevor Roberts, too. Mainly, I see him a lot on Twitter, talking about events, hosting events. AJ Rice. This event really kind of gets me thinking, man, this might be worth, you know, 360. You get a chance to look at it and see what you can do. Your ball speed down. If you can make some spares, you're going to give yourself a chance. You will have earned any money that you make in this tournament. I think so, John. But I'm interested to see what the scores are after game 2. And as soon as I have them, I'll let you guys know. I mentioned, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe Sean Rash was going to be in our area for game 4.
shouldn't be because it's hooking us. I haven't had a double like that. I'm hoping each game for one inning.
A little out of range. Okay, back to what I was saying. 1, 2, 3. I was looking for Sean. And yes, I was correct. We'll have Sean Rash on 37 and 38. Along with Eric Wiley, who always puts in some good work here at this event, to my knowledge, if I'm remembering correctly. And then on 33 and 34, we're going to have Jacob Buttress and Jesper Svensson. See a little bit of, I think we had some Paul Smith fans. He's going to be on 35 and 36 coming up next. Nolan Blessing, if you've never seen him play, he can do it very well. Freshman at Marion University in Indianapolis. Good question about the Open Championships and will I be there? I don't know. There's always a small chance. Wow, sorry, I just looked up. North Carolina is beating Florida State 22-1 in basketball. And my man Gary has presented game 2 scores. Oh, make it. So as far as the OC goes, there's always a small chance that I could pop in and work and help my friend, of course, Matt Cannizzaro, if necessary. But I'll be back in Vegas for the Masters. So that's coming up soon. I guess, yeah, maybe not that soon. The end of March. Okay, so here we go. Sam Cooley, still your leader after 2 games. Boy, this is interesting to see. I would have loved to have seen this. We've got a new high game of the tournament, and it's by Jesper Svensson, who shot 279. How in the world did he do that? Dan Higgins just carried the 5-7. Oh, man, the things you see at the Bradley Open. Zeke Bate is third at plus 39. Svensson, by the way, second at plus 55. That was Dan Higgins' first double of the day, by the way, he told me. Eric Wiley is fourth at plus 37. Again, we're going to see him next game. Game 4 is shaping up to be a good one. Jacob Buttress is fifth at plus 33. Kyle Troop is sixth at plus 25. Zach Tackett is seventh at plus 24. Ryan Spear is eighth at plus 24. I'm sorry, tied for seventh at plus 24. Ninth is Ty McKinney at plus 22. He's going to be on the featured pairs as well, I think, next game or game 5, one or the other. Darren Crane is 10th at plus 19. Stoper is 11th at plus 17. Jacob Harrell is 12th at plus 15. Ryan Liederbach is 13th at plus 13. Jordan Bryan, who we checked in on 33 and 34. Let's look at this washout attempt. And that's going to be the look like the lowest game of the day so far for Jordan Bryant. That was Chad Roberts there to your left. So Bryant at plus 9 along with Jackson Styles. They're tied for 14th. Nathan Bohr is 16th at plus 7. Landon Yezo is 17th at plus 5. Paul Smith 18th. Tied with Brandon Novak at even. 19 players even or plus through 2 games. And 50th right now would be Dan Higgins at minus 37. Players from B squad. They took 50 players from the A squad. And then we'll have the Desperado or re-entry squad directly after this. That will be 2 games only. So a quick sprint to add 8 additional players. And then those 108 will move on to tonight's advancers round. Oh, man. I really love the Bradley. It's funny. I'm really starting to enjoy this person that's joining me for a little bit as well. He also loves the Bradley. That I definitely know. And he's added to his Bradley lore, if you will, last night. He's welcomed 2020 Bradley Open champion and last year's runner-up, and last night's, or one half of the Classic Double Shootout champions, Kim Bowlby.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you joining me. And first and foremost, now you bowled this event a few times at this point. Always talk about what the lane pattern might be. Know it's going to be long. There's going to be some oil. There's going to be 360 grit. There's going to be 220, 180, all that stuff. How did you try to attack the lanes this morning, and how did it go overall for you?
I tried to attack it with a lot of surface. We came out with 220s and 180s and realized quite quickly that was actually too much surface. Because even though it felt, my guesses would be around 50 feet, and
sure,
like 25, 30 mils. It felt a lot more slicker last year and the previous years.
Okay.
So this year it felt like they hooked a lot more.
I heard that sentiment early, and I didn't have a taste test, so to speak, just because I didn't see it in person last year. But now straight from Bo Kim himself talking about there looked to be a little bit of friction there. So where were you? I think I got a chance to see you maybe kind of mid-block, and you seemed to be kind of around 12, 13-ish at the arrows. Did you start there all day, or were you able to kind of maintain? How did it work out?
I started a little bit further left. I felt like they were hooking so early, so I got further right just to control the pocket, because you don't want anything crazy during these qualifying rounds just to make it through. So then I got further right.
What's kind of been the, I won't call it a learning curve, but this tournament is, not something you bowl on every day or every week, certainly on tour. So how do you kind of prepare for something like this as opposed to what you might see on the PBA tour?
Wow, this is such a different event, and I think if you load up a long pattern and just load a bunch of oil in the middle and then try where it's basically slick.
Tell me about last night, man. You guys were out there putting on a show. They ran into a tough Zeke Bate and Brian Halen squad, but you guys looked pretty comfortable. How fun was last night, just a double shootout? And, even before you get to the Bradley, it seemed like there was just an opportunity to kind of just have a little bit of fun, get the swing loose a little bit, maybe throw a few strikes, which you guys did a lot.
I always travel with Dan Higgins and Chad Roberts, and it became a thing on the Bradleys that me and Chad always been bowling doubles. So we see, as you say, a swing loosener a little bit, and I know we have really good connection, like bowling good together, me and Chad. So
yeah, you could tell.
Yeah,
you could tell that you guys had good chemistry. It was working well. You were throwing it well. Obviously, Chad was throwing it well. For those that may not know, and I don't either for that matter, how did you kind of get into this game? How did you get your start in bowling? And for those that also don't know, tell them where you're from.
I'm from Sweden. Hi, Dan. And I started out like my dad started bowling, so it became a thing that I started bowling too. And he was over on tour with Mats Karlsson.
Okay.
Yeah, so he brought back a lot of PBA, VHS tapes and everything. So that I knew at very early age that's what I wanted to do.
Okay. Wow. And then from the point of understanding what you wanted to do and then trying to make it happen, what's that journey been like for you?
Oh, I've been connected with a lot. I've been fortunate to have a lot of different coaches in my game. People like Thomas Lee Anderson, Tori Torgerson, Tim Mack, Sten Åker, Robert Anderson, Mark Baker, and like all these different coaches. I've sort of had a little bit help from everywhere and different periods of my life. So that has sort of given me a little of the perspective of what I need to do.
You named a lot of great coaches right there. Tor Torgerson that person always just stood out to me. I liked watching a lot of bowling. Tim Mack, obviously, as well. How often do you get a chance to go back home? And it may be different now from a COVID perspective and the travel, et cetera, but how often do you get a chance to go back, and how often do you spend your time in the U.S. at this point?
Basically, when the tours is from January to April, and then they have the summer tour from basically August to September. So I'm trying to be here as much as I can during these times. And our visa as internationals, we only get 90 days at a time, so we got to fly home in between those times.
So you have to, what's the renewal process? I talked to Verity a lot about this because she went through that, of course, and most people probably know that story. But how often do you have to, it sounds like you got to renew every 3 months, but do you got to time it just right to make sure that you get it back, for the next swing in your case?
Yeah.
Okay.
So because they have like 6 months, and then you got to get 90 days back, and then so when we finish up, so it's going to be like 6 months or like 180 days in between or something like that, and then you can go back. And I know they've changed it now, so I think it just, when you finish your 90 days, then it resets, so you got to be home, and then you can come back, and then you get new 90 days.
So you're trying to do a lot in 3 month periods throughout the year. That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
I
has been no international events. We have no no tournaments in Asia right now, and the Europeans just started to open up a little bit. For 2 years, it's been completely dead.
It's wild to think that it's been almost a full 2 years kind of since the start, really, of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And for someone obviously who doesn't get a chance to travel that often internationally, when you said that, I'm like, man, yeah, I haven't really heard a lot of news about certain events that we would normally hear or read about or post about in some capacity internationally. Man, 2 years is
That's a long time.
It is. It is. How have you managed your time in that span? Obviously bowling on tour, but even for a while you couldn't do that as well. So what did you do, and how did you manage your time when you couldn't do anything?
Yeah, I had to reschedule everything. That I had to get a regular job because I couldn't make a living out of bowling at home because everything was shut down. And so I worked out at the gym for 4 a.m. and I went to work at 7 a.m. and then 7 to 4, and then after that I went bowling practice and did the whole thing like 5 or 6 days in a week.
Wow. What did you do job-wise, if I may ask?
Warehouse.
Okay.
Yeah, so clothing industry.
In Sweden?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're sort of allowing me, if I need to travel and take days off, I'm able to do that.
Nice.
Yeah. And then now at the end, I could sort of shift everything over. So I work from 2 p.m. till 11 p.m. So I do everything in a later morning. So the 4 a.m. sort of got to me a little bit.
That's early, man.
Yeah.
That's how I felt actually this morning after last night. And you too, because you bowled last night.
Yeah, dude, I didn't get a lot of sleep. 1 hour maybe.
And you bowled A squad this morning.
Yeah, afterwards, I probably should have bowled B.
Well, I was talking to Chad about that when you guys got done. And then he said he was going to tell you to make sure you bowl B squad next year because you guys will probably win the doubles again next year. I'm joined in the booth currently by Kim Bolaby from Sweden. He is a Bradley Open champion, won in 2020, finished second in 2021. Before we let him go, how long do you have? How many frames can you stay to answer a few questions potentially?
I can stay until 11th April.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if you got any questions perhaps for Kim Bolaby, let's get a couple in before we let him go. I know he is hanging out with Dan and Chad. Both of them are bowling, so he's going to be a good roommate and make sure he supports. But yeah, if you got any questions, drop those in the chat. Again, it is game 4. And as I mentioned before, we've got some new groups. Sean Rash is on 37 and 38. Jacob Buttress, Jesper Svensson on 33 and 34. Let's be specific about it. Where's my game 4? I'll get there at some point. There we go. All right, so Buttress, Svensson, Curtis Rasnick, and Ty McKinney on 33 and 34. Paul Smith, Cody Lumpkins, Nolan Blessing, and Jonathan Huddleston on 35 and 36. Then Thomas Wynn, Alan Dillinger, Eric Wiley, and Sean Rash on 37 and 38. Oh, that's a good question. So CGX in the chats is to this point, but you bowled it a couple times, so I think it'll apply. If this event is harder for you than the U.S. Open.
Depends what pattern it is on the US Open or what day it is.
That's a very valid point right there. Very valid point. How did the U.S. Open go for you, since we're talking?
I made the first, the cashier's round, and I just missed the top 24.
Which pattern was your best?
Best one was probably the first day, the 45 feet one.
And 37 went.
Oh, that was 50 under. That was very good 50 under. So yeah, I'd probably say day 2 obviously is probably the hardest one. You can't. Yeah.
That one's tough.
Yeah.
It was after a certain point, because it was kind of difficult to. It's just hard to watch that because you're watching, and obviously you know because you bowl, but you're watching players try to do what they feel is best, and it's typically right. They're doing the right thing, but either maybe no carry, maybe you throw it good and leave a 5-pin like Sean Rash just did.
Oh, ouch. Hands up.
So, yeah, it was. There were some difficulties there, and like you said, a good minus 50. You know, there were some aberrations there. Like A.J. Johnson just went bananas on that pattern. So did Wesley Lowe.
Yeah.
As well. That was a good question. CG. Got some love in the chat for Cody Lumpkins. Lee County bowling team. Oh, we got some high schoolers. I asked this question to the group earlier. I'll ask you, Kim. What was the kind of first real major tournament where you said, all right, I want to kind of go challenge myself and see where I am, so to speak, in relation to where I want to get to? What was that first event?
I think it was Danish Open.
Okay.
So that was like the first European Tour event, and it was sort of drivable.
How long ago?
Oh, that's almost 17 years ago. I was 13, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I bowled the Mega Bucks tournament, and I was 12.
Wait,
Vegas?
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Bowled the Mega Bucks event.
Yeah.
At 12 years old.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you recall about that experience?
Oh, learning.
Yeah, this is learning. First of all, there's a lot to learn anyway at 12.
Yeah.
And then you're in Vegas. Had you been to the U.S. at that point, like before coming to that tournament?
Not for bowling, but
Okay.
that was the first time I
Okay.
went for bowling.
Wow. At 12.
Yeah, my dad has always been heavy on the like go tournament. If you do bad, good or bad, doesn't matter. Just go out and experience it, and then you learn from it
Right.
along the way.
That's a good philosophy. At 12. So then from that point, what was the ride like, if you will? So you're 12 and bowling a Mega Bucks event. Then you go back home at some point, like, you know, I don't know what the like the age rules or requirements there. You know, for example, were you able to still bowl from a youth perspective, or did you have to move up and only bowl adult stuff from that point on? Like, how does that part work there?
We can bowl from youth event. We don't have any restrictions on
Okay.
if we can earn any prize money or stuff like that.
Oh. Well, we should have been moving on over to the international side of things, because
Yeah.
there's plenty of rules that you probably have found out about here in the U.S. regarding bowling. Another 5-pin for Sean Rash.
Ouch.
Another good question there from CG. Well, since you bowled the fresh, obviously you know what to do. I don't know, in the past, have you bowled on the berm, but which one, in your opinion, do you like better? Bowling the fresh or the burn?
At Bradley's, I like to bowl on the fresh because people have less clues, including myself. So the score level pace is probably going to be a little lower.
That's smart.
Yeah,
That is.
and then as a lefty on the burn squad, you know that the righty is gonna break them down a little bit more, so the scoring pace is gonna be a little bit higher or less low, I would say.
Sure. It's interesting. We'll take a peek over at Buttress and Svensson in a minute. But I don't know if you had any lefties on your cross. I don't think you did today.
I didn't have any lefties on my cross, and they are basically going on my cross. They started on lane 9, and I started on lane 9 too.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, so they have the
That's
exact same
interesting.
cross.
That's interesting. When you see multiple lefties sometimes, like, what's your, you can't, I mean, the Bradley is different, but when you have multiple lefties on a pair for you, which I'm sure doesn't happen that often, but sometimes it does, what are the normal adjustments or things that maybe you see? What do the lanes typically do when that happens?
It depends if they're using reactive or urethane, and recently it's been more on the urethane side, so it becomes a little bit more unpredictable. So you got to be more open to what happens.
Is urethane in your bag?
They starting to be a little bit more.
Okay.
I preferable using more reactive, and now when it feels like the more lefties are using it, it forces other lefties to use it too, even if the reactive would have been preferable at that moment.
Okay. All right, game 4. Appreciate everyone tuning in here to the Bowl Stream TV. Smash the thumbs up. I know many of you have already liked and shared on social. We appreciate that as well. B squad qualifying. We've reached game 4. 5 games. Top 50 will advance, and then we'll have the re-entry or Desperado squad. 2 games, and then we get into tonight's advancers round. So you've been through this a few times. What do you anticipate, or is it as simple as, you know, every Bradley obviously is different, so you always kind of keep your anticipations or maybe what you might expect to a minimum. But how does it go typically in the advancers round for you? What do you need to do to get comfortable in that sense?
In the previous years, it felt like I didn't use enough surface, and then I've just tried to get to the next round. You just make it through, and then I've gotten to enough surface. But now this time I'm coming sort of from the opposite a little bit. That I've gotten with too much surface. I got to go a little less, and I see Jacob and Jesper is using less surface, and overall bowling really, really good right now. So I think that's probably going to be the game plan for the advancers round.
Let's see Jesper here. This is him.
Yep.
Coming off a 279 game too, and it's a rough break, and then now that crumbles into a 7-9. Again, Jacob Buttress, Jesper Svensson, Curtis Rasnick, and Ty McKinney. Svensson was working on a double prior to that split. Oh. So 102 in the 6th for Jesper. Buttress striking the 5th. He's got 91 in the 5th, working on a spare. And Ty McKinney about to step up. He is clean through 6, 105 in the 5th, working on a spare as well. Split conversion, in fact. So there's Jacob. Hard to tell what that is.
Seen it hybrid?
That could be it. It looks, I'm assuming it's got some surface on it. It's safe to say that probably every bowling ball, almost everyone, has had surface on it at some point today. Any more questions for past Bradley Open champion? Can Bowlby throw them in here before we let them go? Tonight's advancers round, I've been told it's typically around 7 p.m.
Yeah, they're going to go through C squad first.
So, and that entry is that, or re-entry squad is only 2 games, so it's relatively quick. So keep that in mind. Good question. How long is the flight, and how good or bad is it, the flights to and from Sweden back to the U.S., etc.?
Including with all the layovers and stuff like that, it could be up to 16 to 20 hours. But if it's like a direct flight over, it's around minimum at 12 hours. So we're sort of okay when we're flying to the east side of the U.S.
Okay. So if you're flying, let's say you got to fly to like Vegas.
Oh, that's easy 24-hour flight right there.
Really?
Yeah, with all the layers and stuff like that. Oof, they're rough.
Which you know, obviously the World Series has been there multiple times. So you've been to Vegas. You just told me you bowled a Megabucks tournament at age 12. That is beyond. I'm like, that might be the thing of the week for me. No matter what happens in the rest of the tournament, you telling me that you bowled a Megabucks tournament at 12 years old is just going to be the standout item. Do you remember like what bowling balls you were throwing at 12?
What do you think? 190, we're in the bracket.
Obviously, with all due respect to your current brand.
Savage Flip. I'm not affiliated with any brand right now, so I think I was throwing a Savage Flip and I was throwing a Storm Shift, I think.
Wow. 12 years old. You get a cool dad.
Yeah, he's always been. When I was very young, I thought I needed to practice more in order to get better, but he's been pushing more. When I bowl bad, I got to get out and compete more, just so I can get out of that slump quicker. Because you know you got to bowl yourself out of it, not practice yourself out of it. All
right, another look at Buttress here. a split in the 7th. Back-to-back splits for Svensson. Ball change, it looks like there for Jacob Buttress. If I had to guess, I'm going to guess it was a Paragon, and that's just basically, that's a guess based on what he was throwing yesterday. Of course, 2 completely different lane conditions.
Yeah.
But he did have a really good look on the Paragon. It looks like he's got one now as well. This group is in the 8th frame, so we'll keep it here for a few more. Again, I'll get you updated on the scores. This is Jesper. Again, back-to-back splits. He's got 110 in the 7th. Good shot. How long have you known Jesper in that sense?
I've known him since a very, very young age, since we bowled junior tournaments and stuff together. I think for over almost 15, 16 years.
Okay.
And we live 5 minutes from each other, and we practice at the same bowling center.
Nice.
Yeah. He was a really good friend.
Sweden is on my list, and I don't think it was before I started working on the PWBA tour and getting a chance to talk with like Sandra Anderson, for example. And describe Sweden, if you can. Like if you had to give me a list of cool things to check out Sweden, what would you say?
Oh, I'm not very good at the seeing places, but I can mention a lot of good bowling centers in Sweden. But
okay.
I would say, like, if you go Sweden, I'd say go Partille. That's usually the home center of all the professional bowlers.
Including yourself, I imagine, right?
Yeah. But places to visit. Oh, I'd say Gothenburg has a lot of places to visit, and then Stockholm. And if you go way up north, you would see a lot of snow.
Well, I can get snow here.
Yeah, the thing is in winter, the sun doesn't go up, and then during the summer, the sun doesn't go down.
So it's just extreme.
Yeah.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like Chicago.
And then the northern lights, of course.
Well, you can't beat that. I mean, that's just a priceless sight to see right there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice shot there for Sean Rash. We'll take a quick peek back in. And despite the 5 pins, of course, Sean has remained clean through 6 frames. We'll take you back to the 10th frame on 33 and 34 in just a second. Joined in the booth by Kim Bolaby. Kim has, again, won the Bradley Open. He is one of only 3 past champions bowling in the event this year. That includes Tony Lambert, who's won it 3 times, and Brandon Novak, who has won it twice. Trauma, we just saw the first strike from Sean Rash. Another good question about logistics, if you will. How do you handle equipment, meaning do you typically bring some equipment, from Sweden when you travel? Do you leave some stuff maybe here in the U.S.? I imagine if you're on tour, maybe you can leave some stuff on the truck.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
And then if I'm fortunate that I know Brent Boho, and we've been touring for the last 2 years, and we've gotten really good friends, and I've been staying at his place usually when there've been stops in the Midwest, and he's been allowing me to crash at his place, leave some bowling balls there, and
nice.
He's
a nice guy.
Definitely.
That helps, man. You need some good people to make it work.
Yeah, and the same thing when it's been in Ohio and those. I've been staying with Chad Roberts, and normally, Richard Teese has been there too. So we've had a pretty good, fun time there too.
All right, 10th frame. We'll get back to Nolan Blessing here in a moment. This is Jacob Buttress' 10th frame. He's already thrown the first one in the 10th. Big double there. That's going to get him into the 170s. Another strike, he'll be in 178. Ty McKinney now stepping up in the 10th frame. He is working on 115 to 8th on a spare. Get max at 200 even. And McKinney, nice shot there. Ty McKinney was 9th after 2 games. At plus 22. Haven't got the 3rd game update yet.
That's a nice finish of him right there.
And a big ball change for Jacob Late, giving the thumbs up to the to lane 34. I feel him on that.
Yeah.
I didn't see what he left, but I'm imagining he left something that should have fallen.
Yeah, that we bowled finals on that pair last time, and I remember they were really tricky, especially the right lane, and then the right lane has some sort of uphill on the right lane. Yeah, so it could be a little bit strugglesome.
Let me ask you a question since you mentioned that. So I watched a couple of lefties as Jesper striking the first shot in the 10th. He can get to 180, looking for 3 in a row. 10 pin there for McKinney, so that's 199 for Ty McKinney. On lane 37, I think I watched Jacob Buttress. This might have been during the singles portion yesterday. He threw a couple shots that kind of got, I feel like it got maybe left of 12 or 13, and the ball just kind of continued to drift left.
Yeah.
Then I watched Kevin Williams kind of hit a similar area. I think last night in doubles, same thing.
Yeah, these upper pairs has that similar characteristic, and one lane or the other sticks out a little bit. I think it's 34 does that, and I think it's like if it was 35 or 36 they did the same, and then I think it was 39 that had that kind of thing, and on the right side it was 38 where you saw Sean left a 5-pin.
Yeah, a couple.
They sort of backs up a little bit there. Well, they normally back up on Bradley's, but
well, yeah,
a little extra on those lanes.
Right. All right, 7 count, 177 for Jesper. That group is almost complete with game 4. Raznik here with a 2-4-10 to deal with. Could not convert. And Raznik finishes with 178. I've got the game 3 score update. And I will read those off in just 1 minute. All right, back to the featured pairs here. All right, so Jacob Buttress, after 3 games. Wow, how about that? So now, respectively, they both just shot 178 and 177. But Buttress at plus 109. After 3, shot 276 in game 3. Jesper plus 102 after 3. Mentioned that 279 in game 2, then 247. They each, again, just shot 178 and 177 respectively. Sam Cooley and Zeke Bate tied at plus 70. Zach Tackett 5th at plus 60. Kyle Troop 6th at plus 41. Mike Martell 7th at plus 39. David Stouffer 8th at plus 39. Eric Wiley 9th at plus 24. Kurt Pilon 10th at plus 617. Eric Wiley is bowling with, on 37 and 38. Rick McCormick 11th at plus 14. Mike Kickball 12th at plus 11. Nathan Bohr 13th at plus 10. Trevor Roberts 14th at plus 2, along with Landon Yazel. And Sean Rash 16th actually at minus 6. Terrence Bright, Ryan Spear at minus 7. John Freeman at minus 8. Derek Patterson at minus 12. That's 20th. And right now 50th. There would be a tie right now at minus 50 55, sorry. Jeremy Thomas and Petey Reynolds, both at minus 55 at the moment. Some other players around the number right now. Curtis Rasnick, who we just saw, at minus 56. Donovan Kelly at minus 56. Chase Tucker at minus 57. Nolan Blessing, Tyler Ring at minus 58. Lance Morris at minus 60. Brian Valencia at minus 63. Jody Wessner at minus 68. All right, we got a few more frames with Kim Bowlby. We appreciate him sharing some, oh, that sucks. Seen a lot of A10, sharing some insight into not only the Bradley, but his life on tour, travel, which is always, there's always some logistics behind travel. How far in advance do you try to book and have your schedule in order as best as you can?
Preferable about two months ahead of time.
Does that generally get you, does it allow you to make any changes when you give yourself that amount of time in case you do need to change something?
Yeah, it feels like before the COVID hit a little bit, 3 or 4 months was the time, and now when you kind of wait and see a little bit if they're having some more restrictions, less restrictions
Right.
with all that, and then 2 months is sort of giving me the time enough to, be prepared for those changes.
Yeah, because you don't know when they come and if they come.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just happen, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Questions again about the next round beginning. There is going to be a re-entry of Desperado right after the B squad. It's going to be 2 games, so a kind of a short sprint. The advancers round, give or take, especially according to my good man Bluegrass, we'll be looking at around 7 p.m. See Bowl Dry in the chat. What's up, Greg, my man? Good folks watching from Scotland. Hello, Duncan. Appreciate you tuning in to Bowlstream TV. Zach Tackett is EJ's brother. Yes, CG, that is correct. That's got to be one of the more common questions that EJ and Zach both get. Any siblings? Speaking of brothers.
No siblings.
No siblings. Okay. I feel like that's kind of rare these days.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Well, you see the scoring pace here.
Yeah, they're definitely a little bit higher scores than this one. I feel like they had a little look before they started the game, and I feel like they sort of got on after those, and it feels like the score's a little higher.
You mentioned obviously starting with surface, but then at this point maybe you don't need as much surface for this squad in particular.
Yeah.
Like, if you were bowling, do you think you'd have to kind of navigate where some of the major hook spots in the front are, just because there's been so much surface obviously going down lanes through the heads?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, I feel like the first 10, 15 feet is where it does everything, and then it basically just floats. So if you can control that early hook and then sort of play on that flow, then you're in a pretty good spot.
Right. Chris Bird says Kim Bowlby is a beast in this tournament. Yes, he is.
Cheers, man.
There's no doubt about it. His record speaks for itself. How many times have you bowled the Bradley overall?
I bowled it. This is my 3rd time.
Third? So you won it in your first year.
Yeah.
Come on, man. The man won it in his first year. Then finished second in his second year. Now, hopefully you don't follow the pattern.
No. But it would still be a pretty good streak to finish third on.
It would.
Yeah.
That's a huge shot there. That's a big double. Paul Smith has been getting some love in the chat. So put him in the 2-0s at least. Sean Rash in the 10th frame. One Blessing set to finish things out. This is Rash. One open for Sean in the 7th. The hand clap you hear is from Tom Hess. Okay, before I let you go, what was your first year on tour?
First year on tour, I think it was 7 or 8 years ago.
Okay.
So I've been on tour 8 years, and I've done the full tour about 3 or 4 years.
Okay, so from the time you first started to right now, what do you think has been the most important lessons that you've learned, or that maybe the experience gained to be successful, to kind of continue to keep pushing and improving your game and your stance out on tour, and it really in any other event for that matter?
I feel like every time you have good events and bad events, you sort of go back, sort of work on that plan a little bit, speak with your coach, and speak with the people around you, and you obviously get to know a lot of people here, and sort of hearing a lot of feedback, because you're never really, it's hard to make it out alone out here. It's sort of, you need your own F1 team. It's sort of like ball help, like technical stuff. It's like, you need those things. It's very hard to do that on your own. So always, when you're over here, try to listen and stay like, make sure you suck everything in and all the information you can get. And even if it's too much, just get it in and sort it out along the way, and you will figure out a way to see the right shapes and see the right way what you have to in order to succeed out there.
Good info, good advice. Blessing finishes with 210. Huddleston shoots 133. I'm sorry. Paul Smith shot 175. My apologies there. Cody Lumpkins shot 142. I was looking at Thomas Wynn. Thomas Wynn shot 202 over on 37 and 38. As we watch Alan Dillinger finish things out. Rash finished with 182. And Eric Wiley with a 310 to deal with.
Only if you don't mind it being drank.
All right, good spare. How about a 7-8 conversion before we end game 4?
Ooh, that was a close one.
All right, final shot. Any final thoughts from you, Kim, on what you've experienced so far on the Bradley, and maybe something for the viewers to watch if we get a chance to see you on the on our featured pairs here tonight? Maybe something they can look for in regards to lane play or your strategy again.
You'll see a lot of people that will try to keep it closer to the head pin and straighter angles, and you'll see those that if you're taking a little longer route to the pocket, you're gonna see a little bit more trouble.
I like how you phrased that, the longer route to the pocket. 148 is our final for Eric Wiley. Kim Bowlby, I appreciate you joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck, obviously, the rest of the tournament, and we'll see you tonight.
Thank you.
All right, that is Kim Bowlby, ladies and gentlemen. Game 5 coming up next. The Bradley Open continues here on Bullstream TV.
That's the basket that you're supposed to put the scorecards in, but nobody ever does. They end up disappearing.
I don't know who you were at first. What? I don't know it was you. I've got mine in my wallet. That's mine. Mom, I've got cash. Got that too. I don't really know how one person can be so unlucky. Fucking blower rate, dude. Chris, eat him up. He bowled the doubles last night. No, he bowled with Matt Sanders. Scores were very, very high. No, it was house shot. Yeah, it took like right at 1,500 to make top 8. There was like 300 shots. Out around 7. It wasn't too late in the game. I tried to move out there a little bit, but not helpful. It's just a pain in the ass.
All righty. Game 5. Is going down. And let's see, on the high end, looks like everyone is ahead of 35, 36, 37, and 38. Looks like we got some folks already finished with game 5. Wow, okay. That was quick. I see a pair or two on the low end that are maybe into frames 1 or 2. All right, appreciate Kim Bowleby joining me in game 4. B squad qualifying, if you're just joining us. In B squad qualifying, we had A squad this morning, top 50. From that squad has advanced to, or has moved on, I should say, to the advancers round, which is tonight around 7 p.m. or so. Again, the A squad cut number was -111. Don't think it's going to be -111 on B squad. They did not re-oil. Good question about JR. Did he bowl this morning? He did. J.R. Raymond got to -36. So he will be bowling tonight. Well, I'm sorry about that, Nick. I didn't see that Brandon was over on 31 and 32. My apologies there. I would have kept that popping. Let's see if I think he's done too. Yeah, he is. He shot 223. Speaking of Brandon Novak. Michael Martell finished strong with 213 a clean 213. Before we went back to these pairs, he was going left to right over the gutter, over the left gutter specifically. Going back to the question about how many women were bowling. Haley Dan is the third woman I've seen so far here. Give you one more look at Haley. Jody Wessner, Sandra Wiley, and Haley Dan are the three ladies that I have seen compete here in the Bradley. I didn't see any this morning unless I missed it. See if she can give us some highlights before we head back to our featured pairs. Haley finishes with 156, a couple of 187, 198 games. 198 actually from Jerry Mars, who again left at a couple of weird hits on 33. All right, John Sweezy been talking to his cool son James for a good portion of the day earlier. Again, just awaiting the our new score update after 4 games. That's a good question, Nick. Not that I know of. Kayla's got the info, because I certainly wouldn't have had game 4 until the paper is handed to me. Rod, so I follow Kayla in that regard. He did certainly shoot 204 in game 3. To your question, Nick, I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I'm not sure. That's a good question, because I imagine there aren't many 300s, so perhaps there might be, and I just don't know about it. I'll ask that. Oh, Chris Nunn. Always hate when that happens. I'm going to assume that my good friends Savage Bowling TV and Chad Lester and company probably covered the Indiana State Queens. There's a lot of live streaming going on this weekend in our sport. Certainly here. There's some college bowling going down at various places in the country. But specifically, some streaming going down at USA Bowl in Dallas. Oh, no, Kayla, it's all good. If you got the scores, it's okay. It is all right. I'll eventually find out. So if you know, especially if you've got a very good source, which I think you do, I'm good with it. Don't worry. Oh, excellent. Excellent there, Chris. Good people there. Scott Gilmore. Met Scott a couple years. Man, it's been a while since I met him, now that I think about it. I think I first met him back at the Open Championships when I used to work there. And the Purdue connection. In fact, really, a lot of people probably know Mike Dole. Mike Dole and I were college teammates. I've known him for a very long time. How you doing? His brother went to Purdue.
Still just getting started.
But yeah, that's where I first met Scott. And speaking of Scott Savage, of course, He was coaching Purdue when I was a collegiate bowler. Haven't met Chad yet, though. I look forward to meeting him at some point soon. Only bowler that ever hit it was Wes Malott, so I've got to believe that still exists. Oh, good shot. Again, Jeremy No, Mickey Coffey, Ryan Spear, and John Sweezy on 35 and 36. Specific letters, according to what I have, Mickey Coffey up right now. He is letter B. Jeremy No is letter A. Ryan Spear, letter C. Hold on, let me double check that. I don't think that's right. Think about it. Chris, the word on the street is the advancers round typically begins about 7 or so. It's not definitive because the Desperado re-entry squad will begin theoretically after this squad ends. So they still got to tally the numbers, make sure the cut for this squad is right before, of course, the Desperado can get back going. So, all right, there, yeah, John Sweezy is deep. Oh, good shot. All right, so as I look down, like I'll be pointing the camera to the left because there's a few pairs in the middle of the house that are in the 4th frame. And of course, we'll be complete here in a few minutes. There's a bit of a gap here, so the high end is going to be done. All right, Spear. Oh, get a break. He does. Wow. Chris, we'll have to. That's pretty cool, Chris. Sounds like we have a lot of similarities. And with Bloomington, I imagine that he did some cool stuff at IU. I called one game from at Indiana. Natalia, that's there's a mix of amateurs, high-level amateurs, and certainly some professionals in this tournament. Well, a little bit of everything. Once we get to the cashers round tonight, the advancers round tonight, and certainly the cashers round in the morning, you'll see a little bit of a different feel, I would say, because at that point you're typically getting a chance to see kind of the best players in the tournament at that point, who've kind of weeded themselves out and moved up based on their own performance here this week. Tom, I'm pretty sure Sean is still, well, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Sean's still bowling. But now that I think about it, I think they just got done. That was the quickest fifth game in the world on the high end. Thank you. All right, we got our score update after 4 games. So to that point, Tom, I do not know that answer. But I can tell you about Game 4 scores. I can tell you about the stuff that Kayla hasn't told us already. Well, how about Zeke Bate? Zeke Bate is your new leader here, B Squad, after 4 games. Plus 106. Plus 106 for Zeke Bate. His low game is 214. Fidel, if they're not on the Bradley Open Facebook page, Bradley Open Bowling Tournament Facebook page, that's the actual name. I certainly have been reading them as I get them per game. I did post the final results from A Squad earlier today on the Bowl Stream TV Facebook page, but to answer your question, first place you should look is the Bradley Open page, and then I'll probably post, just in case, just as a friendly, newsworthy reminder, if you will, I'll post them on my own as well. Kyle Troop, plus 88, second. Jacob Buttress, third at plus 87. Jesper Svensson, fourth at plus 79. Michael Martell, fifth at plus 51. John Freeman. I like John Freeman. Plus 6 at, plus 8, plus 48, excuse me, in sixth. Sam Cooley, per Kayla Sabatine, did shoot 204, 168. He is plus 38 and seventh on the squad. Zach Tackett, eighth on the squad at plus 35. Brandon Novak, ninth at plus 32. Trevor Roberts, 10th at plus 24. He's tied with Mike Kickmall at plus 24. David Stouffer, 12th at plus 20. Nathan Bohr, 13th at plus 12. Jacob Horrell, 14th at plus 9. Terrence Bright, 15th at plus 7. Ryan Spear, 16th at plus 3. Jonathan Cummins is 17th at plus 1. And then 50th place right now is, minus 68. Minus 68. I've seen Kayla in multiple chats, so I know she knows what she's doing. I'll have to meet her at some point. But minus 68, that's the number. Reminds me of a Sesame Street song. That's the number. Sorry, I have 2 young kids, so Sesame Street often pops up in my head. Yeah, minus 68. Players around the number. By the way, that's Michael Mossbarger, who's at minus 68. And 51st, Tyler Ring and Chris Racy, both at minus 69. Nathan Peck at minus 71, along with Brian Valenta. Brian Valenta needs a big game. You try to hop in that number. Petey Reynolds, Daniel Perkins, Curtis Rasnick. Donovan Kelly is right there also at minus 78. Jerry Mars shot 198. So he is going to finish at minus 81, which might be it, could be it. Last year, minus 79 was the number on B Squad as far as the cut is concerned. I like how Ryan Spear handles the job here. He throws it pretty well. Nick, appreciate you sharing that. I hope she continues to get well. But I'm kind of with her, though. You can't change from Sesame Street. That's kind of now my moniker. No need to change from Sesame Street. Yeah, look at Kayla. I mean, she is. I have to get Kayla something. I don't know what to get her, though. All right, final shots here for Mr. Spear. He'll make the spare. Where is Ryan Spear? I don't have my trusty sheet anymore. Someone's looking at it right now. And then I'm going to turn the camera, and then you'll kind of get a very wide angle shot. Well, there's Donovan Kelly. So all of the bowling is happening essentially in the what, 15, maybe no, 13 to 30 range right now, with most look like they're either in the 9th or 10th frame. '31 and 32, however, which is the pair that you can see the best at the moment. They are in the 7th frame. There's Mitch Beasley. All right, your leader, by the way, if you missed it, Zeke Bate. Last night I watched Zeke Bate come up clutch for he and Brian Halen. And albeit it was a modified house shot and all that. But by the time they got to the point in the tournament, they were making moves that they probably would make certainly on tour. Hopping in. He's making ball changes late in games. And he's plus 106 right now. I haven't seen him actually throw a ball today. I've missed him every time. He's just been on my left and my right. But he is your leader after 4 games at plus 106. I appreciate all the love in the chat. Thank you so much. Got a long way to go. Appreciate the guests that have joined me so far the next couple or last few days. Also, earlier we had Kim Bolaby in game number 4. Right now, Zeke would be the overall leader, but again, that's through 4 games. Tom Doherty led A Squad this morning at plus 83. Boy, Chris Nunn this is not his first time. I'm also not a guy to go around asking for money, so to speak, right? So I actually even forget that that's an option. I'll give you a funny story while we wait for this game to finish up. We'll also have a few additional weights for the cut number. But one of the first events I did after acquiring Bullstream TV from my good friend Craig Elliott here was, I think, the Wisconsin State High School tournament, which I will be at again next month. And I just didn't expect a donation, but somebody just popped in and said, hey, here's this. Hey, I followed you from, Bowl TV, for example. Congratulations. Love what you do. Hey, here you go. I was completely stunned, shocked. But I never expect those kind of things, so I don't ask for those kind of things as well. So if you find in your heart you want to do that, I'll certainly put it to good use. There's plenty of, if you're in the streaming game, there's always something to update. I'm looking at a camera right now that I don't like, so there's always something to update. I'm always happy to eat as well. That's important. Someone asked about how do you make it work, basically. Hopefully a very good relationship with the tournament director. And if you can find a few sponsors here and there as well to help offset some costs, that's typically how it goes at the moment. And then, it's a few events that you, especially depending on who you know, build good relationships. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. We're back in the bowl
now. You do some cool stuff, events, try to help grow your platform. Some things aren't always about the dollar per se. But like Jillian Martin's college announcement, for example, that was built on a very good relationship with the Martin family. Will Clark, her coach, thought it would be a cool idea. There was no money involved in that. I just thought it'd be cool to see if she and then her family would want to, do something cool like that. They did, and we did it. You guys are funny.
Yeah.
Where is Ty McKinney? That's a good question, because when he left 33 and 34, he finished on 45 and 46, so he is done. But I'd have to imagine, unless something really drastic happened, Ty McKinney is going to be in the top 50. Let me double check that, because he was well up there after 3 games. So let me go before I go running my mouth and saying the wrong thing. Yeah, McKinney was 21st after 4 games at -16. So, I mean, it could happen. It is the Bradley, obviously, but he'd have to really bowl something crazy not to be in this top 50 here. There are also a lot of events, or some events, where you know what to expect. You know the schedule, you know the format. So you go in preparing yourself that, hey, it's going to be a long weekend, but this is what you do. I learned that very early. I still do a lot of events on Bowl TV, for example. So like the U.S. Open, Junior Gold will prepare you for anything. If you've been to Junior Gold, Kurt Pelon about to pop into your screen here, talking about legends. Stills out there getting it done. That's Donovan Kelly, by the way. Yeah, Junior Gold will prepare you for anything. Those are some long days. But it's all worth it once you see the champs and you know you do your job. The good people enjoy what you do. They got a chance to watch it. Hopefully maybe they learn something. Maybe they learn something from each other in the chat. And then that's it. Dan Higgins. Dan was kind of in that same boat earlier, but let me double check. Dan was minus 31 after 4 games. And he was, I think, on the featured pairs in game 2 or 3, actually. I think it was game 3. Yeah, it was game 3. He hadn't had a double until that game. Tampa Bowlers Tour getting some love. I see you, Josh Roberts. Nick Dills, good question. How do you tell yourself you're not bowling and have to watch all day? I think I'm used to it at this point. It's actually, you know, I guess the gift and the curse. It's actually one of the reasons that I stopped bowling, because I was spending so much time in this role. And, you know, with travel, the last thing I really wanted to do was then go to a bowling center to try to actually practice and work on my own game. So I would say that was a small contributor to me not bowling for the last 3 to 4 years. All right, as we finish out this pair, we've got Samuel there. Good shot. This is, again, 29 and 30. Sam Blythe, Kirby Allen, Donovan Kelly, and Daniel Bench. Oh, that's a good question, CG. I'll get you that in 1 second. Trevor Roberts was plus 24 after 4 games in 10th place on this squad. I think he's going to be all right. Beef, what time, and Barnesy, sorry, what time is the second round starting tonight? Are you referring to the advancers or re-entry? If it's advancers, I don't have the exact time on that, but I've been told give or take 7 p.m. Now, because you're going to be bowling in the advancer squad, I would highly suggest that you contact the tournament director so you don't go blaming me if you're late. I don't think so, Andrew. Is this the same Andrew that helped me with some internet situations? Because if so, yeah, I think it's about 7. Stu and or Chris. But I do not know that to be a fact. Thank you again, Andrew. I appreciate it. Appreciate your help. I'm just saying, Beef. I don't want no smoke, man. I want to see you do well, too. So I want you to be on time as well. CG had a really good question. As we come up on the, these are the final shots too, by the way. 10th frame, and then there'll probably be another 15 or so minutes I think that's been about the theme here, if you will. 15 or so minutes after the last ball of qualifying to the cut number. All right, CG asked me, who have I been most impressed with so far through 2 squads? That's a really good and tough question. Of the players that I have seen up close, I mean, I don't think there's been one player. I think there's been a few players who've done some cool things on the featured pairs, if that makes any sense. So, for example, I didn't see Steve Novak today at all, but I know Steve Novak as a player. So I'm not surprised that he put together a plus 78 block. You know, Tom Hess we talked about Tom a lot yesterday. Not surprised. Tom Doherty was on 37 and 38, shot 185, came back and shot 245 to get to plus 83 and ends up leading the squad. Stu was excellent. I just now looked at his game 5. I'm sorry about that, Stu. Still, don't be late, though. But when I saw him, he was still impressive. Left a lot of 9 pins, though. Kim Bowlby still doing his thing. I thought Dwight Adams was pretty impressive, certainly out the gate today. I didn't expect the gutter to, be really in play like that. He and Matt Zweig were the only 2 players that I really saw have success on the gutter. And again, limited sample size. I can only watch, 6, 8, 10 lanes. Bailey Maverick had a really good game, too, on 35 and 36. He had the front 7. I think the more I watch Bailey Maverick, the more I'm just impressed at his game overall. Young man throws it really good. All right, so bowling is complete. Let's throw the old cut announcement on the board here. Good opportunity for some Q&A. We already have that. You guys have been great with questions. Let's see. Let's go back to game 1. Right, so game 1, Sam Cooley was the leader at plus 44. After game 2, Cooley still the leader at plus 66. Uh-oh, do I not have my game 3s set here? Come on. All right, there it is. Game 3, Jacob Buttress moved into the lead at plus 109. Game 4, Zeke Bates moved into the lead at plus 106. So we've had Sam Cooley lead twice today, or for 2 games. Buttress for 1, Bate for 1. This morning, we opened with Steve Novak as your early game 1 leader. Then we moved to Dom Barrett. Novak, by the way, shot 246 in game 1. Then Barrett was at plus 68 for 2. Then Tom Hess moved into the lead in game 3 at plus 75. Then Stu Williams took the lead in game 4 at plus 86. And then Tom Doherty grabbed the lead in game 5, plus 83. 5 different players led after at least 1 game today in the A squad. Trying to think of look at some other names that may have stood out to me. And I think that question will be a bit more, I'll be able to answer it a little bit better as the night goes on. So I think I'll get a chance to see just a few different players, obviously, especially when we get to the advancers round. Someone asked about, will we be streaming the Desperado? I will be doing that. So as soon as this cut number is announced, I will end this stream and then get ready for the Desperado. Put that up for you, of course. The event is scheduled, so you can go ahead and pull that up on another tab if you'd like. But we will be streaming that. And then we'll have tonight's Advancers round. And we'll add a game, of course, if you don't know that. We'll go to 6 games instead of 5. Jim Pickering, that's a tough story there. Bowled to Bradley once, made it through the first cash round, then needed a double in the 10th to advance and left a stone 5. I've seen a lot of stone 5s today, Jim. They've been way too popular, I can tell you that. A total of 108. Or I'm sorry. Tomorrow, the cashers round will be 40. You said tomorrow. 40 bowlers will advance to tomorrow's cashers round at 9 a.m. The advancers round will have 108 bowlers. 50 from A, 50 from B, 8 from the re-entry. I heard some oohs and ahs. I thought there was a proposal or something happening. I don't know the entry count on the re-entry or the Desperado squad yet as well. I'm sure that'll be an intriguing number, though. 2-game sprint on this. I might take my chances. Andrea, by the way, shout out to Joey. Yeah, you mentioned 4 a.m. You know, when you have a big tournament like this, and Jason mentioned it last night when he joined me, talking about the squad and the team that really makes this thing go. And you know, I feel like mechanics don't get all the love they should get too, because for the amount of time that someone like myself or the tournament director, the tournament staff spends in the bowling center, your head mechanic probably is spending more time making sure that obviously the lanes are ready to go, oiled, and that's part of the staff too. So big shout out to Joey here. So many new things I'm learning here, or looking forward to, really. But yeah, I've learned some stuff there, definitely, but looking forward to, I should say. Good note, by the way, Chris Nunn. I forgot to mention that. You do have to have bold. You know, you never assume that that is understood. But yeah, you do have to have bold, or have to have bold either A or B to even be eligible to bowl the Desperado. So in a 90, let's take this squad for example, in a 92-person squad with, of course, 50 bowlers advancing. That leaves 42 in this squad to think about how they want to run it. You probably think if someone's going to re-enter, they probably just missed, right? Theoretically. Oh, that was in reference to me bowling. Oh, okay. That was funny. Oh, God, no. I'm good. I'm like Kim Bowlby. I would take my chances on fresh. For the right amount, though. 2-game sprint on what I just saw. There's some score out there. I don't know how you get it, but there's a few pins to get. That's a good question there, GT. I think maybe I'm a little surprised. And again, I'm a newbie to the event, so maybe a little surprised that the scores weren't just a tad bit higher. Fresh, but I also understand it's fresh. Folks enjoy the burn, certainly. I think the early hook, though, can be detrimental. Because I saw a couple players, some good players, too, trying to navigate all of the early hook spots. And so you kind of feel like you got around one, but then, you know, you might wash out, but you were through it great. And then maybe, all right, let's be left of this little hook spot in the front. And then, you know, then you're going like Brooklyn. So it's interesting. Me personally, I would take the fresh though. Specifically during qualifying. But I don't know if there's an advantage. If multiple people who like to play the gutter can play them like Matt Zweig and Dwight Adams did this morning, I don't know what they did when they left 37 and 38, but well, they made that pair look just incredible. That's another good question. You know, at that point, to me, that would be a different round. But I don't think that is in the rules that I see. But that would be a completely new round at that point. So I would certainly think so. If you're still here, we're waiting for the official cut number to be announced for B Squad. So the top 50 players, they can know who they are and what they need to do, how they can spend the next few hours of their time.
Walter, could you turn your score sheet in
Uh-oh.
into the tournament?
We're getting closer. One name. Sounds like we're missing one score sheet. That means we are getting closer. Park Point, no specs were given, or are given, I should say. No one knows the pattern. The numbers of it, if you will. But yeah, it's got to be like 50 feet. Again, Zeke Bate was your leader at plus 106. And Michael Mossbarger, this is after 4 games, by the way, was minus 68, and that was the number. Alex Walter just got the last call to turn in his score sheet. If anyone watching right now knows Alex Walter, I think they said Alex Walter. Where is Alex Walter? I don't see Alex Walter. Maybe Alan Watcher is what she said. Anyway, whoever it is, please turn in your score sheet. I appreciate that offer, Chad. I'm not going to. I'm not going to. You know. That is extremely lovely of you. Or maybe I will. At this point. We'll see what happens. That's a good question on the sheet situation, though. Yeah, I think in my experience, someone who typically leaves their sheet didn't bowl well. This is my experience in this situation. Then sometimes where like let's say on the PWBA tour, for example, there was some players who, or someone is responsible basically for bringing in the sheets at the end of a block, for example, and then maybe someone just only takes their own sheet and the rest of the cross is thinking that, everything was turned in, and so sometimes they get left on the table. But at this point, with the amount of time that has elapsed, I'm guessing that that individual perhaps is not here.
Sam Blythe, you wanted in the tournament office. Sam Blythe.
Uh-oh. Sam is needed in the tournament office. I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what's funny. In my experience on tour, it only takes one announcement. If someone forgot to turn in their score sheet, typically speaking, honestly, it was like a mistake. Forgot, maybe thought they turned it in. Like they literally thought they had turned it in. But it only takes one time to hear your name on the PA asking to turn in your score sheet. And generally somebody's just running to the tournament office. And it's 14, huh? The waste management. Daniel Farish was nearby. I was going to ask him what he thought the number was. I'm hearing talks that the number is being thrown around. I just heard someone say it's minus 82 or something close to that. I should ask Craig what he did in these situations when he was here. It certainly would have just been an easy, hey, well, we're done. You know, you guys will find out on social media. Check the Facebook, Bradley Open Facebook page for the number. I think I'm very used to making sure that if you watch the entire time, you probably want to know also what the cut number is. So. Last year's B squad cut was minus 79. That 82 number, however, is not confirmed. Certainly, that is just what I heard on the concourse.
Highly done. You're needed in the tournament office. Highly done.
What do you think the number is?
Jerry Morris was saying he thought it was going to be around 81 or 82.
Got another 81 or 82 in the clubhouse here. So what do you guys think? You think it's 81? You think it's 82? Do you think it's more than minus 79, which was last year's B squad number? Let me know. We're still here at this point. Big thanks to the sponsors, by the way. QubicaAMF, Motiv. Seven Leaf, High Five Gear, CTD, creating the difference, classic products. So a couple of minus 80s. We got a minus 86. Chase, yeah, that is correct. We had a minus 82. I think what they're doing right now is, I'm assuming, I don't know this for certain, but I'm assuming that the Desperado reentry squad will be at least in our general vicinity, obviously, so we can have some folks to cover. And then that gives some time to strip or begin the stripping process for the advancers round, which is going to be on Fresh tonight.
All right, well,
Okay,
sorry for the wait.
here we go.
Just gathering more scorecards. Your cut number for B squad, negative 81. That's 919.
Okay, minus 81. That's the number.
The way that it played out for this squad is natural. If a youth, senior, or female do not naturally qualify to the night squad, we advance the highest of the youth, women, or senior. We had a youth and senior naturally qualify. We did not have a female. So that is why, if you look at the standing sheet, there's a line under the 49th because the 50th person is the highest qualifying female, which was Haley Dunn at 910. For
Well,
anybody looking to get in Desperado that have not entered
minus
already,
81 is the
please come
number.
to the front and enter now. We will be starting.
Nick, I don't have the final standings in front of
5
me.
minutes. So come pay your entries
But
now.
the Desperado squad is going to start in 5 minutes. So what I'm going to do is stop talking here, and I'll talk to you on the Desperado squad, and we'll catch up and talk about standings and all of that and such. So minus 81 here. I'm moving over to the Desperado squad event, and then we can continue our conversation. That sound great? All right. Again, Motiv, QubicaAMF, thank you to the main sponsors, the title sponsors of the Bradley Open, the 7 Leave, High Five Gear, Creating the Difference, classic products. For Jason Utchwald, the entire tournament crew and staff, my name is Emil Williams Jr. I'll see you in a couple minutes here on Bullstream TV.